World of Warcraft has a huge amount of media and art made of it by its fans, all the time. See? Isn't it wonderful? I made this! Yay! One artist that in particular caught my eye as of more recently is the deviant artist named Hipnosworld. Not that Hipno. Hipno does an amazing job making beautiful lore-filled pieces of art out of in-game World of Warcraft graphics with some tuning of his own to really make the pictures look like something straight out of Blizzard headquarters. Hipno depicts a large amount of things not yet seen in World of Warcraft, scenes from lore's past, and characters never depicted in-game. It helps to give shape to many of the mysteries and adventures that we hear about in WoW's huge, ever-expanding lore. Honestly, picking 10 of these masterpieces for a top 10 list is one of the most challenging, painful things I've ever done. Just looking through his works, I could easily use any of them, but sadly I ended up only choosing 10. I won't even bother with an honorable mentions, as that's just making things even harder. Naturally, I don't own the rights to any of these photos. I am merely showing off my personal favorites and giving my support to the artist. I would recommend if you enjoy Hipno's work that you visit his DeviantArt page and support him on Patreon, both of which are in the description of the video. Well, without further ado, let's take a look at number 10. Starting our list off at number 10 is the conveniently named The Beginning. The Beginning is interesting because it depicts something I think a lot of us want to know. How are new titans actually born? And what happens to their planets when they're born? I mean, do they just rip out of the planet and destroy everybody? Surely not, right? I love the design and the creativity here, how the titan actually looks like a newborn based on the emotions on its face. Easily a powerful start to my list and a very beautiful piece of artwork. Coming in at number 9 is the Might of Kalimdor. Raiding on Courage back in the day created quite a bit of thrill for most of us. It felt like we were actually taking on our real first war. Hundreds of bugs everywhere, a true sign and meaning of World of Warcraft. Might of Kalimdor shows us Saurfang's war against the old god Cthulhu and his infinite insect horde, and it does it in true vanilla fashion. Large, intense, tons of weapons we know like sulfurous and all kinds of things going on in the picture that we can all relate to if we rated in vanilla, and of course most of all, it's freaking epic. At my number 8 spot is the Ashbringer. High Lord Mograine is easily my favorite paladin. He may not be Uther when it comes to fame, or Tyrion when it comes to conquest, but he in himself paved the way for both of those paladins, and he did it with the paladin weapon we all know best, the Ashbringer. This picture blows my mind with pure intensity of the moment. Mograine leaping up, ready to cut down the scourge laid before him, his hand pushing against a massive abomination. Jesus Christ, this is so freaking sweet, it's so high octane, and I love it. My number 7 spot goes to Mimir, the Grand Architect. When doing Ulduar, everyone was always wondering, where is Tyr? Who is Tyr? Meanwhile, I was wondering why Mimron was a mecha gnome and not a titan forged. Blizzard answered this in the Chronicle, explaining that he was slain and his soul was transferred into one of his creations. But still, this created a new question for me. What did Mimron look like prior to his death? Well, Hipno has done an amazing job of answering that for me. The design of Mimir is stellar. I love the greens and I love the seriousness of Mimir, something that his in-game counterpart no longer has due to his untimely death. This is an amazing depiction of easily one of WoW's more amazing characters. Coming in at number 6 is the Wound. Reading that the old gods controlled Azeroth together was a terrifying discovery. Reading that Aman'Thul single-handedly plucked the strongest old god Y'Shaarj from Azeroth's service, crushing him, well, that's even scarier. No official art exists of this scene, so seeing it depicted is just pretty awe-inspiring. Hipno perfectly captures the scaling difference between the two characters, Y'Shaarj but an ant to the Titan Highfather, kind of making me feel bad for Y'Shaarj. Nah, never mind. Up next at number 5 is Azeroth. This one, just like the Member one, is kind of insane to me. How well Hipno can create something out of nothing. We have no real idea what the Titan Azeroth actually looks like, and well, if this is what Blizzard ends up going with, I'll be pretty freaking happy with that. I love that Hipno used a troll sprite for this, as trolls are some of Azeroth's oldest creatures. I know it's probably not going to happen, but it's smart, and she looks awesome. Oh, and the belly button Maelstrom is freaking genius. I love that she actually took the wound, but then he actually placed the wound somewhere that would actually make it look symmetrical and unique. Very well done, Hipno. At number 4 is Argus. This one is pretty self-explanatory on paper, but it's the raw emotion depicted in one single picture that does it the most for me. The depiction of Argus's torture at the hands of Sargeras and Aggramar is intense. I can actually feel his pain and suffering, and man, do I feel bad for the Titan. Honestly, this picture really shows off why we have to fight and defeat Argus and Antorus. He has been tortured to the end of his sanity, and we have to sadly end his pain. We are at our top 3, and at number 3 is Pantheons Fall. Knowing Sargeras defeated the Pantheon in one powerful Fellstrike is hard to really wrap my head around. I mean, these are also Titans that once stood side by side with Sargeras. It's not easy to really see him just easily blow them away. Well, until I saw Hipno's version of the events. Don't get me wrong, I still have many questions when it comes to power scaling, but this at least helps me see the potential of what he could do to his fellow Titans. I love the details on their faces, how panicked they look, not just because they're about to die, but also because deep down they're worried. They're worried about the rest of the universe. They're worried about Azeroth. They're worried about us. And that is freaking intense. Coming in at my number 2 spot is Awake the Thunder. This one was very impressive for me from more than one vantage point. First off is the amazing art and design. This image actually makes me feel like I was there for the rebirth of the Thunder King. Like, it's so detailed and the color is so powerful. On the other hand, I also freaking love Li Shen, and anything with him is going to by default look 10 times more awesome. This picture just screams, I am Li Shen, the Thunder King. And I love it to death. My number 1 spot is here, and there could only be one number 1. The best Hipnosworld picture, at least in my opinion, is Melons Fall. When people talk about the epic duels of WoW history, I hear a lot of Arthas beating Illidan or Grom beating Mannoroth, but I hardly ever hear about the brawl between Malorn and the hand of Sargeras himself, Archimonde. Archimond's neck-snapping good times with the giant deer is one of Warcraft's most intense moments. It helps to build sympathy for the wild gods, as they are very relatable looking creatures, but it also makes the Legion, and more so Archimonde, look absolutely terrifying. Like, holy crap, don't kill me. Hipno did a fantastic job rendering the fight with its in-game graphics, and god does this picture tear my heart to pieces. Bravo, sir. Absolutely bravo. Well, that was my top 10 Hipnosworld photos. As I mentioned before, if you like his art, check out his DeviantArt page, his Patreon, and his YouTube channel and show your support. Thanks Hipno for this awesome art, and keep it up, you are a beast. As always, if you enjoyed my content, don't forget to subscribe. I'm Captain Potato, and I'll see you guys next time, next video.